Verse 9, supplement to 40 verses on reality. Ulladhu Naarpadhu Anubandham given to us by Sri Ramana Maharishi. அகக்கமலத்தே அமல அச்சல அகமுருவாகும் அறிவே அகத்தை அழித்திடுவதால் அவ்வகமாம் அறிவே அகவீடளிப்பது அறி. In this he is explaining a subtle mechanism. அகக்கமலத்தே அமல அச்சல அகமுருவாகும் அறிவே அகத்தை அழித்திடுவதால். There is knowledge where in the lotus of the heart. These are all just poetic expressions, okay? Don't imagine cave, don't imagine lotus. A place, just think. It is not even in the organ of the body, any of the organs of the body. It is just there, okay? So, there is knowledge. That knowledge will destroy this I thought, this ego. He says, Ahakamalate amala achala. That knowledge which prevails in the lotus of the heart is pure. It is unmixed with any object in the world. There is no thought at all. Simply, it means a thoughtless state. Amala, achala, unmoving. We have already discussed this several times. If two things are there, if there is a gap, one can move, another can move. If something pervades everywhere without a gap, boundlessly, how can it shake? How can it move? It cannot. That is what Brahman is. That is what your nature is. That is what my nature is. So, அகக்கமலத்தே அமல அச்சல அகமுருவாகும் அறிவே அகத்தை அழித்திடுவதால் அவ்வகமாம் அறிவே அகவீடளிப்பது அளிப்பது. That heart center where this knowledge prevails, knowledge is nothing but Brahman. I am Brahman. That is Brahman knowledge. That only can give us liberation, he says. See, he is explaining a subtle mechanism. Atma, as we discussed, is formless, number one. It pervades and percolates everything in the universe. It makes things in the universe function the way they all function. Yet it remains the power that makes things possible, but yet remains untouched and unchanged. This is the beauty of it. Because this is not something equal to milk becoming curd. Once milk becomes curd, it cannot get back to its milk nature. The same way, if Brahman transforms itself into the entire universe, physical universe, then it can never get back. For example, if Brahman has converted itself into this entity called Sentivel, irreversibly if it has transformed itself, then it cannot, I cannot get back to my original nature. That is not the case at all. In its presence, sheer presence, the physical Maya, through the power of Maya, the physical order happens. That is what they say. But how is it possible that from that Brahman consciousness, how did I become this body consciousness? That is through the power of Maya. This sense of I, bodily sense of I is there, but Bhagavan says it is like a phantom, ghost. If you search for it, it will run away. Which means our psychological states are but a phantom. They don't have original existence. They have only virtual existence. But something is there, even if you seek it, it will not disappear. Ego or bodily sense of I, if we seek, it will disappear. Whereas if you seek the Anma, it will be there permanently. Because that is the only truth. This is what is meant by Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, Jiva Brahma Ivanapara. The only reality, truth is Brahman. It plays the mischief of a universe having been created. So human bodies having been created. It just plays a mischief. So we have ourselves, as Brahman created this mischief, we have ourselves, trapped us into this body consciousness, and through the intellect, we ourselves become our original nature. Because in Advaita, non-dual, there are no two things at all for me to blame another. I cannot blame Bhagavan. Bhagavan, I have been praying to you, I have been studying you, you have let me down. He would say, are there two things? For one person to let another person down, he would say. So that is the point. So, from this formless, infinite existence, consciousness, bliss called Brahman, he says, First there arises a knowledge. This is knowledge, okay? This is Brahman. First arises I, a sort of sense of I without still getting connected to the body, okay? Then he says, first I arises from infinite Brahman, right? This I still remains pure. He says he seek that. Why should we seek it? Because on top of it another thing is booted, connected. This is ego. So between Atma and that pure knowledge and that Amala Achala, that pure blemishless knowledge, unmoving I, Brahman, in between this Atma and this body, this is there. Bodily sense of I. This is bodily sense. He says, you remove this, what is remaining is I am Brahman knowledge, and this Brahman knowledge can give you, he says, liberation. Which means this and this is one. If you want to understand the mechanism, so 7.2 such I's have risen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 million, 7.2 billion have risen. Example, animals, plants, etc. Even the entire physical universe, stars, everything just rises from Brahman and subsides into Brahman. That's what they are saying. You, Brahman, me, Brahman, inner nature. So we need to remove this another layer which has come in between us. What is that? It is ego with the veil. Through Vicharam, inquiry, if you remove it, what remains is pure knowledge, what is called Suddha Manas. Sometimes he calls it Suddha Manas. Pure mind, without mixing up with the bodily sense of I. That stage is talking about. So, this is how it works. Mechanism wise, description of mechanism wise, there is no more confusion. You are Brahman, I am Brahman. The only thing that exists is Brahman, that is you and me. But we are experiencing ourselves as only the body. Infinite existence, consciousness, bliss, but it is being experienced as I am the body. This is the trick, this is the mischief. How do we clear it? Through Vicharam. What is the obstacle? Thoughts. How many thoughts are there? Let n number of thoughts be there. Like a fulcrum to all those thoughts, there is only one I thought, one pivot. That is what serves as the enemy to realization. That is what traps us into samsara, what is called worldly life. So turn your attention, he says, inside. Every time a thought arises, there are two options. One, we can build up a thought. You think of a personal aircraft jet. You like it. You look at the name of the company, right, Bombardier or whatever. Then you start thinking about, okay, how to own this aircraft. Where is the parking? We need a place. So how big a plot I need to purchase, and so on. This way we can go on spinning thoughts. Number one option. Number two option. Who is experiencing this thought? If you do this Vicharam, self-inquiry, it will say, you will get an answer from your mind, your intellect, that I, this person, right? Who is saying I am this person? This thought. Because Sri Bhagavan says, Sadavudal nanennadu charchit udiyadu. The vast Brahman, it has no business of rising as I, okay? The body, he says it is inert. It is like a fan being powered by electricity. It is running because of the electricity called Atma. So this does not have original thinking. In between that Atma and the body, in between there arises something to the extent of the body, that is called ego. He says, search for the source of this ego, you will find your true nature. That's all. This is the whole mechanism involved. Now, whether Anma knows itself or the Buddhi knows itself, this is there's a little controversial subject. Sri Bhagavan has himself said two things at two times. One, Atma is there, and first arises a sense of I, just a pure sense of I, Suddha Manas I, then it gets connected with the bodily sense of, he says. So in between Brahman and our current state, there is something else here, the pure mind, and here is intellect. How can intellect cross over this and experience Atma, he asks. Okay, how can this intellect, which can cross over this pure sense of I and get connected to Atma, he says. How can it know, he says. At another places, he has translated Adi Shankara's work. He says, although Brahman is everywhere in everything, Brahman is not experienced through the senses anywhere in the physical order. He says, Tungamam buddhi ileye palivum. It is known only to the keen intellect. So Bhagavan himself has said both the things. Now it doesn't matter. All that matters is turning the mind inward and looking for the source of the sense of I. Then the result, let it be whatever. Because he says, Tandanakke Vedyamai Thane Olirum. Thane Ilangidumal. He says, once you reach out to Atma, you will see that it shines forth of its own, it reveals itself, it reveals everything else in the universe, it reveals the body, mind, intellect, etc. Whatever is there, the Drik Drisha, whatever is seen, whatever is experienced in the universe, it is not me, I am the knower. So we will have that experience. Whoever has realized their true nature, not that they have forgotten their pre-enlightenment stage at all. Look at Sri Bhagavan himself. At age 16 he got realized and he remembers all that happened before age 16. And he has given vivid description of all of it. So once Jnana dawns, realization dawns, we will remember our pre-enlightenment stage too. And currently we will be in that Brahman experience, which is like the daytime sun shining forth brightly. All the memory and the mind, intellect, everything will become like the daytime moon. That's all. Right now, ego is predominant, 99.9%. Once realization dawns, Atma experience, Brahman knowledge will be 99.9%. 9%. It is just a flip. Just a flip. Just switching back. The way you turn an omelette or a dosa, what is called in India, there is a rice cake. Just put it on the pan, then after some time, flip it. That's all. So you can say, I am the body, or you can say, I am Atma. Shankara says clearly, Nirandaram ivaru nigaltappadum அப்பிரம்மே நானாவன் என்னும் உறுதி அளிக்கும் அறியாமை அழிவுகளை நோய்கள் ஒழிக்கும் ரசாயனம் ஒத்து. The way when you get fever, you take paracetamol, it drives away fever. The same way, if you constantly think that I am the boundless, limitless Brahman, he says that will, the way the medicine drives away fever, your this particular thought, this strong, determined thinking that I am Brahman will destroy the ignorance that I am the body. This Shankara says in Atma Bodham, Sri Bhagavan has translated. So this is the thing. Atma first appears as pure knowledge. If you get that pure knowledge, it will destroy this bodily sense of I, and that will give us liberation. First, what comes? Jnanam comes, knowledge comes, pure knowledge of what? Brahman comes. Then the second step is destruction of this psychological sense of I, and hence liberation. This is what is said in this verse.